In this video, we're going to carve some hills. The techniques that I'm going to show you in this video are what I use to carve hills in what I like to call stylized realism, because it's not perfectly realistic, kind of looks a little cartoony, a little simple. It's stylized, and that's the way that I like to do hills for my Halloween villages, Christmas villages, and really any other reason you'd want to carve a hill. Now when I'm doing this, I mainly like to use my Hot Wire Foam Factory sculpting tool, but I'm going to show you how to do it with a knife as well. If you don't have access to any hot wire tools, you can easily do this with a knife and make it look just as cool. So in this video, you're going to see me using this pink XPS insulation foam, and I know that I'm going to get the question, well, what about the white stuff? Can I use the white EPS styrofoam, your packing ball styrofoam for this? The answer is absolutely. If you're doing it with a hot wire tool, you can use these techniques interchangeably with white versus pink. The only difference really is when it comes to using a knife. You can still use this stuff, but it doesn't cut quite as clean. You need to make sure you have a really sharp knife. As you can see, I can kind of get a nice cut here. When it breaks off, you can see some more of the balls and irregularities and stuff like that. And I don't really like the way that looks. The balls that have broken off here, and it's a little bit messier. You can do it with a knife, but it's not going to come out exactly the same, and I don't typically do it this way, but try it out for yourself and see what you like. First up is the hot wire technique, and here I'm using a Hot Wire Foam Factory sculpting tool. This is where I'm using the sculpting tool to kind of go in at an angle and kind of slowly carve back and forth in this type of pattern, in and out and in and out. You can carve from the top, carve from the bottom, and basically just do this the entire way around your piece. And now do the same exact thing, but in the opposite direction, slicing out the chunks that you left on the top and bottom here. This is what gives it a really cool shape, in my opinion. There's the clip. Now I like to go in and clean it up and carve off anything that's too sharp or just looks strange or out of place. There you have it. Now I'm going to speed this up as I go along, but basically just doing the same exact technique that I just showed you close up, but I'm going to just go along the entire edge of this circle piece here. Again, going in and out, back and forth. So at one point I will flip this over and begin going in the opposite direction. There it is. Again, I'm going to go along and clean it up and slice off anything that looks weird to me. This is just totally up to your discretion, however you want this to look. Now you can see how nice those edges look, all craggy and irregular and spooky. If you wanted at this point, you could add some stairs over here or right here or something like that, but we're just going to leave it like this for now. And now I'm going to show you how to do the same thing with a knife. You have to use a very sharp knife for this to get as smooth cuts as possible. And the key for this technique is to carve out these little gouges. You can take your knife in at an angle, a little triangle shape here, and pop these pieces out. You can carve somewhat into the foam and then just move your knife like I just did there to kind of pull that piece off and chop it off at a harsh angle. Kind of looks a little bit more natural. Be very, very careful when you're doing this because that knife is super sharp. And then just go around and just kind of repeating this pattern of gouging out these little triangles. And now we're going to flip it over and do the same thing on the opposite side. Kind of trying to make it look like what I did with the hot wire tool. Making these crags and crevices in here. Again, I'm just going in with the knife and kind of breaking pieces off. And this part's optional, but you can use a rock to kind of break it up even more and kind of dull some of those sharp edges, give it a nice texture here, put some crags and cracks into it. And here's a look at the finished piece. You can tell it's a little rougher than when you use the hot wire tool, and where we use the rocks, it's even more rough and broken up. But you can get a really cool effect just using a knife this way. Like I said before, you can use these for Halloween villages, Christmas villages. I like to do this when I do, a mountain or the woods or something like that for Christmas. Put snow on this and it looks just as awesome. If you learned something and you did enjoy the video, then please give me a like and subscribe, because I'm going to be doing a second part to this tutorial, which is how to paint these hills. Until then, thanks for watching.